Static Shock isn't just a show, it's a blast from the past that beamed into living rooms from 2000 to 2004. Made by Warner Bros. Animation and inspired by the DC Comics character Static, it's a fantastic creation by Dwayne McDuffie and John Paul Leon. Lasting 4 seasons and giving us 52 episodes, it's not just a show, it's a journey down memory lane for those who enjoyed it back in the day. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Before we head into the show, it's important to set some context. This is the city of Dakota, a fictional place with your average daily life shenanigans. In this not-so-peaceful city lives Virgil Hawkins, a high school student who has the ambition to fight against crime after his own mother dies in a gang fire. One day, when cornered by some bullies, including a guy named Francis, he is saved by a guy named Wade who pressures him into joining his gang. One day, he finds himself involved in a gang confrontation at the docks. There, an explosion of gas occurs which catches our hero, and the next thing he knows, he is in his bedroom alive and free from the gang. However, something has changed. Virgil has now gained the ability to control and generate electricity. With some help from his friend Richie, he adopts the persona of Static and sets his eyes on being the superhero he always wanted. Meanwhile, the rest of the gang members who were exposed to that gas have also gone through some kind of mutation, with Francis literally burning and blasting out of the hospital window. When in his superpower mode, Francis dubs the name Hot Streak and continues to be a horn in our hero's way. Later in the news, they call the explosion the Big Bang, and the people who got affected are called Bang Babies. Many folks, maybe hundreds, are going through changes because of it. Later on, Virgil encounters Hot Streak causing trouble, and when he tries to stop him, he accidentally messes up evidence about Edwin Alva, a suspect in the Big Bang incident. At the same time, Virgil's dad, Robert, is talking to the city council about the Bang Baby situation, not knowing Virgil is one of them now. The next day, Virgil looks into Alva's involvement, sneaks into his company, takes some info, and faces a dangerous situation with a room full of gas. He manages to escape, but Alva is planning something against him. Hot Streak shows up again, creating chaos, and Static has a tough fight, eventually winning by covering him in sewage. One day, Virgil is helping out Derek, a popular athlete, with his studies. But then something goes wrong, and Derek turns into Destruct, a Bang Baby with crazy powers he can't control. His accidental chaos catches the attention of the Meta Breed, a group of Bang Babies led by Eban. Richie and Static realize Derek is missing and get wind of the Meta Breed's involvement. Meanwhile, Destruct is struggling with his new monstrous appearance. The Meta Breed plans to do something not so legal, and Static steps in to stop them, trying to reach out to Derek. Even with Eban causing trouble, Static manages to inspire Derek to resist the criminal path. Virgil finds out the Meta Breed is hiding at Milestone Street, and a big showdown happens. Static convinces Derek to break ties with the Meta Breed, and they escape together. In the end, Derek makes amends with his mom and decides to help with Bang Baby research. Meanwhile, a singer named Adam Evans, now transformed into Rubber Band Man, is out for revenge on a rap star named Ice Pack, who stole his hit song and he believes is responsible for his downfall. Virgil and Richie witness the confrontation, and Virgil isn't too impressed when Richie suggests an abandoned gas station as a potential superhero headquarters. R&B Man kidnaps Ice Pack, accusing him of plagiarism, but Ice Pack reveals he's just a performer, not the one who wrote the song. R&B Man finds out the real culprit is Ice Pack's producer, DJ Rock. Virgil, turning into Static, steps in to save Ice Pack from falling off a spire. DJ Rock tries to trap RB Man in a sealed vault, but Static manages to rescue him. RB Man is now out for vengeance, and Static stops him from harming DJ Rock, making sure justice is served. One day, Virgil is excited to join the prestigious Van Moore Institute, a school for gifted students. He attends a seminar taught by upperclassmen Dukin, Henry, and Daisy, with Specs and Trapper. Little does he know that they've been tasked by Edwin Alva to capture Static. Specs and Trapper manipulate Virgil into creating a tracking device for energy signatures. When Virgil discovers their true intentions, he transforms into Static and foils their plan to capture him using a resilient robot covered in ceramic. As the robot chases Static, Daisy reveals the truth to Duncan and Henry, leading them to return to the school. The pursuit eventually reaches Alva's home, where Static outsmarts the robot and exposes Alva's unethical pursuits. Virgil discontinues the Van Moore program, and Daisy transfers to Dakota High, bringing joy to Static. Later, Virgil and Richie investigate strange events at Freeman Community Center, where fountains and weather seem manipulated. They trace these anomalies to Aaron, recently released from reform school. Meanwhile, Dwayne, a boy with reality-manipulating powers, causes chaos with illusions. Aaron influences Dwayne to engage in destructive actions. Static steps in during a mall incident, exposing Aaron's deceit through a recorded conversation played over the speakers. Aaron's plan falls apart as Dwayne opts to make better choices. Static captures Aaron, and Dwayne, empowered to learn and grow, decides to take a positive path. During a robbery by the Meta Breed at a mall, Static steps in, resulting in Talon's capture, while Eban and Shiv escape. Virgil learns about Richie's family situation. His father, Mr. Foley, holds racist beliefs. This revelation strains their friendship, leading Richie to run away. Virgil helps in the search, and despite Mr. Foley's biases, he cooperates with Mr. Hawkins. As Static, Virgil finds Richie, but the Metabreed kidnaps him to force Static's help in releasing Talon. Richie subtly signals Static using his shockbox. The fathers mistakenly led to the Metabreed's hideout, confront them, but are saved by Static. After defeating the Metabreed, Mr. Foley and Richie reconcile, marking a positive shift in their relationship. At Burger Fool, Heavy C, a newly empowered Bang Baby, wreaks havoc stealing food until kids manage to subdue him. Meanwhile, as they work on anti-Bang Baby devices, tensions rise between Virgil and Richie as Virgin seems to be falling for Daisy. When Slipstream, another Bang Baby, causes chaos in Dakota, Static struggles in the battle, leading to a falling out between Virgil and Richie. As Slipstream targets a news helicopter, Static, with the support of Daisy, a fellow student, saves the day. Virgil and Richie reconcile after realizing the importance of their friendship. When Slipstream reappears, Virgil loses his powers, but Richie's Zap Caps restore them. Working together, they defeat Slipstream and mend their friendship. One day, Virgil, his sister Sharon, Richie, and Daisy go to a Stringer concert, where Sharon reveals her secret relationship with a musician, who turns out to be Adam, aka Rubberband Man in disguise. The concert faces issues when pyrotechnics cause a fire and Static steps in to rescue people. Virgil confronts Rubberband Man, revealing his identity and creating tension between them. Meanwhile, Bang Babies Puff and Onyx target Rubberband Man for a reward. Sharon protects him, leading to conflicts with Puff and Onyx. Despite police involvement, the two escapes, and Rubberband Man decides to surrender with Sharon's support. A showdown occurs when Puff and Onyx try to ambush them, and with Captain Fitz's help, Rubberband Man receives a reduced sentence. Later, Virgil goes to a fancy party but is late because he has superhero duties. At the party, there's a lot of tension between Edwin Alva and his son, Edwin Jr. This leads Edwin Jr. to run away. While in Alva's lab, Edwin Jr. finds a dangerous gas that turns him into a superpowered villain named Omnifarious. Omnifarious causes chaos at Alva Industries using his new powers. There's a big fight between Omnifarious and Static, and Omnifarious discovers Static's real identity, threatening to expose him. Virgil has to decide if he should protect his secret or do what's right. In the end, he chooses to reveal Omnifarious' identity to his father and Edwin Alva. Omnifarious loses control of his powers and gets turned into stone. However, his eyes seem to glow, hinting that we might see him again. A new villain, Johnny Morrow, once a TV star and now called Replay, has the power to make copies of himself. He uses this ability to commit crimes and make people believe that Static is the one doing wrong. Replay frames Static for stealing and damaging things, turning the public against the superhero. Virgil finds out the truth but has a hard time convincing Richie. Replay plans to destroy DKT Studios and put the blame on Static. Virgil manages to tap into the clone's transmission and stops the plan by showing the truth on live television. With Richie's help, Virgil defeats Replay and his clones. Richie realizes that Virgil is telling the truth, and they work together to expose Replay's scheme to the world. Amid his heroics, Virgil is dealing with the sadness of his mother's death while getting ready for a memorial service. Even though he doesn't want to be involved, he encounters a powerful Bang Baby who is determined to prove others wrong. As Static, Virgil tries to stop the Bang Baby, but his powers don't work against him. Virgil's friend Richie discovers a clue in an exceptional essay test by Thomas Kim, connecting him to the Bang Baby attacks. When they confront Thomas, it triggers his transformation. In the battle that follows, Static uses a smart strategy to contain Thomas without hurting him, allowing the police to step in. Reflecting on his mother's wisdom about handling tantrums, Virgil finds comfort and strength. During the memorial, he gives a heartfelt speech, acknowledging his mother's lasting impact on their lives. One day, a Bang Baby named Ferret gets unwillingly recruited by the Joker to join his new gang, which includes other Bang Babies like Talon, Shiv, Kangaroo, and Hotstreak. Despite Ferret's initial refusal, Joker sprays him with laughing gas to make him more compliant. The gang starts committing chaotic crimes, stealing fire trucks and targeting Dakota First Bank. Static tries to stop them, but faces difficulties. During the heist, he discovers Ferret still affected by Joker's gas and investigates his situation further at the hospital. Batman and Robin, who are tracking the Joker, team up with Static. The trio falls into a trap set by Joker's gang, leading to their capture and an attempt at execution. Static, with help from Richie and the Batwing, intervenes just in time to rescue Batman and Robin. They defeat Joker's gang, turning the tables on the clown prince of crime himself. Given how Virgil is a bit careless about his secret identity, Sharon starts suspecting that Virgil might be secretly Static, especially when she hears Static talking about arcades, a topic she thinks Virgil mentioned before. While Sharon investigates, two new people with metahuman powers, Boom and Mirage, commit crimes to help their grandmother. Mirage starts feeling unsure about their actions, but Boom insists it's for their family. Sharon continues to gather evidence, and when Boom and Mirage cause trouble at a radio station and a sports arena, Static steps in to stop them. Mirage ends up in the hospital after a confrontation with Boom, who turns into a criminal seeking revenge against Static. Sharon tries to prove her theory by taking Virgil to a public event, but Mirage helps Virgil keep his secret by creating a convincing illusion of Static. One time, Virgil faces the Roughback, a group of metahumans determined to get rid of Static. His dad's urgent call leads him to the Freeman Community Center, where they're meeting Shaquille O'Neal, an old friend of his father. Virgil and his sister, Sharon, learn that their dad and Shaq knew each other from a basketball camp. The Roughback targets Virgil at Shaq's private party, leading to a quick escape with Shaq, Robert, Sharon, and Richie. The next day, Virgil and Shaq bond over street ball at the old community center, but the Roughback interrupts. Virgil reveals his superhero identity to Shaq, and together they defeat the gang while Shaq agrees to keep Static's secret in the end. Later, two boys, Royce and Frankie, steal a special briefcase with quantum vapor, the same gas that caused the transformation. Virgil, on his way home, gets involved when the police look for the stolen briefcase. To avoid trouble, he uses his powers to escape from the police. Later, Virgil's dad introduces them to his new girlfriend, Trina, who turns out to be the same cop from earlier. Virgil gets grounded for running from the police. At school, Royce accidentally spills the quantum vapor, causing insects and spiders to mutate. Virgil, still grounded, hears about a bug problem at school from Richie. As Static, he defeats the mutated creatures, while Royce, who was exposed to the gas, turns into a super strong being. Trina and Static try to catch him, leading to a final showdown where Static defeats Royce. Virgil stays grounded, but his dad and Trina can now be together. One day, a new member, Aquamaria, joins the meta breed and attacks a football stadium using water-based powers. Static fights her but struggles against her abilities. Rubberband Man steps in to help, causing tension within the meta breed gang. Virgil and Sharon feel jealous of the attention Rubberband Man gets. The meta breed robs an electronics store, and Static, along with Rubberband Man, fights against them. Eben, the meta breed's leader, tries to recruit Rubberband Man, revealing they are brothers. Despite defeating the meta breed, Rubberband Man shields Eben, allowing him to escape. Surveillance footage makes it seem like Rubberband Man helped the meta breed escape, damaging his reputation. Virgil learns that Rubberband Man and Eben are brothers. Rubberband Man explains the situation to Virgil, but decides to join the meta breed. Later, Static discovers that Eben framed Rubberband Man. In the final showdown, Static exposes Eben's deceit, saving Rubberband Man from a dangerous situation. Rubberband Man defeats Eben and expresses hope for his redemption. Even though Virgil's sister Sharon remains cold to Rubberband Man, he persists in trying to mend their relationship. Meanwhile, Richie is upset because the school's vending machines are not working properly. To address this issue, he decides to run for class president. The other candidates are popular Joey Bombora and haughty Madeline Spaulding. Madeline discovers she has telepathic powers from exposure to quantum vapor during the Big Bang. She uses her abilities to manipulate Joey into quitting the election. Richie witnesses Madeline's mind control and tries to warn Virgil, who initially doesn't believe him. Now targeting Virgil, Madeline unleashes her mind control, turning people into zombies, including Virgil's family and friends. Virgil, as Static, confronts Madeline, who reveals her plan to take over the world. Despite facing challenges, Static overcomes Madeline, breaks her control over the students, and leaves her in a near catatonic state. Joey wins the election, and Richie's proposal to fix the vending machines becomes part of his agenda. In a music store, a metahuman named Replicon causes trouble. Rubberband Man and Static try to stop him but lose track of him. Later, Virgil returns a CD to Adam Evans, who reveals plans to sign a deal with AJ McLean of the Backstreet Boys. Virgil accidentally tells Richie about it, and the news spreads. Fans gather outside the music studio, and when Replicon kidnaps AJ posing as him, Static steps in to save the real AJ eventually. Adam signs a deal with AJ McLean, and he becomes a rising star. This one time, Static meets a girl named Allie, also known as Nails, in Gotham City. She has powers that turn her skin silver and make it act like metal. Static, with the help of Batman, discovers that Allie is being forced by Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn to do bad things like stealing gold. Batman and Static work together to stop the villains and prevent their evil plan. In the end, Wayne Industries, owned by Batman, supports Allie in getting the treatment she needs to control her powers better. One day, Virgil recounts the traumatic events involving his friend Jimmy Osgood, a bullied and depressed boy who contemplates using his father's gun to seek revenge on his tormentors. Virgil and Richie befriend Jimmy, but when the bullying intensifies, Jimmy snaps and brings a gun to the community center's Halloween party. A heartfelt plea from Richie and Frida prevents tragedy, but a stray bullet hits Richie. Virgil, as Static, intervenes, magnetizing the gun to the ceiling. Jimmy undergoes psychological treatment, while the bullies face consequences. To Virgil's surprise, Richie shows Virgil his growing technological skills, presenting inventions like backpack, modified zap caps for capturing targets, and a police scanner to alert them about metahuman activities. The meta-breed, who escaped custody, identifies Richie as Static's associate. Concerns arise about Richie becoming a Bang Baby due to the Big Bang incident. Talon and Ebon capture Virgil, and Richie, now known as Gear, steps in to rescue his friend. Using his inventions and clever thinking, Gear outsmarts the meta-breed, revealing Ebon's mistake. Richie and Virgil fully embrace their superhero roles, with Gear joining Static in their crime-fighting adventures. While on a family vacation to Ghana, Virgil Hawkins, also known as Static, experiences a deep connection to his cultural heritage. During his time there, he encounters Anansi, the legendary African superhero. Together, they join forces to stop Osbo the Leopard, who plans to destroy a dam. Combining Anansi's wisdom with Static's powers, they cleverly outsmart Osbo and his henchmen. This mission leads Virgil to a profound sense of identity as he embraces and appreciates his African roots. As Virgil bids farewell to Anansi, he recognizes the importance of having a black superhero role model. One day, Static and Gear encounter a new superhero named Shebang while saving workers. Gear is eager to recruit her, but Static hesitates. At school, a new girl named Shenice Vale impresses everyone with her bowling skills. However, when Shenice's parents arrive, she seemingly fails to make a strike, raising suspicions. Meanwhile, Shebang effortlessly defeats Hotstreak during his rampage. Shenice's parents reveal that they created her in a lab, giving her superhuman abilities. A company wants to clone her, leading to a kidnapping attempt. Static and Gear intervene, ultimately rescuing Shebang. She decides to go underground with her family. Later, Virgil accidentally upsets Marcus, a boy trying to reform after spending time in juvenile hall. Marcus seeks counseling from Virgil's sister, Sharon, at the community center. Meanwhile, a massive Bang Baby goes on a destructive rampage in the city. Virgil and Richie investigate, suspecting Marcus due to his troubled past, but they lack proof. Virgil tries to provoke Marcus into revealing himself as the monster, but fails. Learning Marcus was in counseling during the attacks, Richie discovers the real culprit, Tamara Lawrence, Marcus' ex-girlfriend turned Bang Baby. As Static, Virgil confronts Tamara, who confesses her actions stemmed from heartbreak. After defeating her, Virgil and Richie pledge not to judge based on appearances. Virgil apologizes to Marcus, who forgives him for Sharon's sake. Meanwhile, Batman and Hawkgirl find out that Brainiac, a tough computer program, has escaped from his resting place on the Watchtower. This happened because a cosmic superstring was draining the station's power. The Watchtower is knocked out of its usual path in space. Batman suggests asking Static for help to recharge the core of the Watchtower. Static and Gear are ambushed by Puff's Meta-Men at first, but they team up with the Justice League to stop them. While they are dealing with the Meta-Men, Brainiac takes advantage and attacks the Watchtower. When Static and Gear are left alone on the station, they face Brainiac. Brainiac tries to throw them into space, but the young heroes manage to escape and outsmart Brainiac. They jam Brainiac's frequency, and with quick thinking and teamwork, defeat Brainiac and save the day. However, the danger is not over as Brainiac gets into Gear's robot backpack, leaving an uncertain ending. After the trouble with Brainiac, Virgil notices that Richie is acting strangely. The Justice League finds a suspicious download on their base, the Watchtower. Flash checks it out but gets caught by Brainiac. Static works with the lead to find them. They discover that Richie is also under Brainiac's control. Static, being immune to Brainiac due to his electric powers, figures out that Richie's backpack is the remote control. He frees the lead from Brainiac's control. Brainiac then takes over Richie's body and tries to use his ship to take over Earth. Static goes into the ship, messes up the remote, and stops Brainiac's plan. The lead removes Brainiac from backpack, and John confirms that Richie is free. Jon Stewart hints that Static might have a future with the Justice League. One day, a billboard promotes a show called Heroes starring Static, prompting him to talk to the film producer Bernie Rast. Even though he is unsure, Static agrees to be a role model for kids. Initially, Rast wants only Static in the plan, excluding Gear, but Static convinces him to include his friend. They patrol with camera helicopters, but when facing the metahuman Starburst, their powers don't work, resulting in bad press. Richie discovers a power source on Starburst's suit and sets a trap. During filming, Static destroys the recording devices on Starburst, revealing that Rast's assistant Brandon was behind it. Brandon sought funding for an overlooked script and gave Starburst his powers. Later, Virgil discovers that the Freeman Community Center is facing financial difficulties. As he investigates, he finds out about Edwin Alva's involvement in a secretive project at Alva Industries. Digging deeper, he stumbles upon the petrified body of Alva's son, Edwin Jr., and learns that the project aims to revive him. Specs and Trapper, former employees of Alva, have their own agenda and become Spectral and Speedtrap, using advanced technology. They kidnap Edwin Jr. and demand ransom, putting Static in the middle of the conflict. Despite initial distrust, Static assists Alva, and together, they thwart Specs and Trapper's plans, leading to a significant donation to save the Freeman Community Center. One time, Virgil and his classmates go on a field trip, but things get crazy when a giant toy monkey starts causing trouble. Static and Gear try to stop it, but their powers don't work well. Luckily, Superman shows up to help defeat the toy monkey. During the chaos, Clark Kent, Superman's alter ego, meets Ms. Moore, who's actually Darcy Mason in disguise. She's hiding from a villain called Toyman. Soon, giant bouncing clowns start causing problems at school. Static and Superman team up to stop the clowns. Meanwhile, Darcy and Toyman plan to transfer Darcy's mind into Daisy's body. The heroes confront Toyman, leading to a dangerous situation with kryptonite-infused toy soldiers. In a surprising twist, Darcy's betrayal leads to her own downfall. Toyman ends up in police custody, and Static and Daisy reflect on their encounter with the legendary Superman. Remember Shebang? Well, she returns to Dakota and asks for help from Static and Gear because she thinks her parents are in trouble. The three heroes discover that a new metahuman thief is actually Dr. Koenig, a scientist who worked with Shebang's parents. Due to his experiments, Dr. Koenig is transformed into a rock-like being with the power to absorb energy. He forces Shebang's parents to help him, but when his cure fails, he becomes dangerous. Dr. Koenig has a collar that can release a lethal injection, and it holds the key to setting Shebang's parents free. After a big battle, Static and Gear manage to save Shebang's parents. The city of Dakota honors rescue workers, including Virgil's mother Jen Hawkins, who died during the Dakota riots. Virgil, along with his friend Gear and a new metahuman named Nina Crocker, accidentally travels back in time. Nina has powers that allow her to manipulate time, and she wants to join the superhero team. The trio thinks about changing the past to save Jean from dying in the riots. They succeed at first, but Eban, a villain, interferes, leading to a showdown in the past. Static manages to save his mother, creating a special moment between the two. However, complications arise, and Nina decides to give up her powers to avoid risks. In the end, Virgil accepts his mother's legacy and finds a sense of closure. This one time, Static travels to Gotham City to help Batman and Robin catch a villain called Timecode. However, an accident with the time machine sends Static more than 40 years into the future, into the Batman Beyond era. In the future, he's mistaken for an enemy by the new Batman, Terry. Static discovers a plot by the villainous group Cobra and teams up with Terry to stop them from swapping prisoners involving his older self. As they work together, there are some conflicts between Static and Batman, but they manage to uncover Cobra's plan. Eventually, Static's older self assists in defeating Cobra, and as Static returns to his own time, he gains valuable insights into his future and the hero he will become. Later, Virgil and Richie run into Madeline Spaulding, who seems to have lost her memory and no longer has her metahuman powers. However, Madeline helps some villains, including Hotstreak, Eban, and Talon, escape from the police. Static and Gear try to stop them but struggle until Shebang shows up to assist. After the villains get away, Shebang expresses her interest in joining the superhero team. Though Static is initially hesitant, they eventually agree to let her join. However, during a later encounter with Madeline's gang, Shebang's actions strain her relationship with Static and Gear. She decides to face Madeline alone but gets captured. Static and Gear rescue her, realizing their mistake, and apologize, inviting Shebang to join the team whenever she wants. Afterwards, Sharon and Virgil help Dr. Anarchy set up the West African exhibit at the museum. Anarchy secretly hides a golden spider in Sharon's pocket. On their way home, Virgil realizes he forgot his backpack at the museum and goes back to get it. There he sees Anarchy under attack by a giant bug and transforms into Static to help. Anansi, the spider god, explains that Osimo, an old enemy, is after the golden spider, the source of his powers. Meanwhile, Sharon discovers the spider's illusionary abilities and accidentally uses it to clean her kitchen before seeking help from Richie. When Anini kidnaps Sharon, Static, Gear, and Anansi team up to rescue her, defeating Ospo and his allies. After capturing the villains, Anansi thanks Sharon. Despite her adventurous experience, Sharon is reminded of her chores when her father calls about the dirty dishes. Static finds it amusing, and the day ends with a lighthearted moment. One day, distraught by reports of his hero Green Lantern going on a crime spree, Static confronts the rampaging hero in Dakota. Despite Green Lantern's insistence on a misunderstanding, Static assists in putting him in jail, disheartened by the fall of the Emerald Knight. However, Static discovers Green Lantern's power ring in his own pocket, leading to a revelation that Sinestro, disguised as Green Lantern and fueled by stolen power, is the true culprit behind the crimes. Sinestro framed the real Green Lantern, leaving him powerless and taking advantage of the situation. Static, realizing the injustice, teams up with the real Green Lantern, providing a power source for him to recharge his ring. Together, they expose Sinestro and defeat him, preserving Green Lantern's reputation. With faith restored, Static and Green Lantern part ways as respected comrades, saluting each other and bidding farewell. Later, Static faces a new group of metahumans called the Nightbreed, which includes Brickhouse, Nightingale, and Tech. These metahumans have sensitive eyes due to the Bang Baby incident, making them active during the night. They are stealing diamonds and microchips for their leader, Ebon. Static and Gear join forces to stop the Nightbreed, leading to confrontations in the subway and a nuclear reactor. The Nightbreed plans to block out the sun, and Static, Gear, and Nightingale work together to stop Ebon and prevent a dangerous event. In the end, the Nightbreed decides to face their challenges and find a solution for their condition, allowing Static and Gear to continue their superhero duties above ground. One night, Virgil and Richie enjoy a special night at an all-star game in Los Angeles, thanks to Virgil's father's charity work. However, their fun is interrupted when they discover objects turning into metal skeletons due to nanites causing chaos in the city. A giant robot made of nanites targets the Hoop Squad, a team of basketball stars with bioenhancer suits. Static and the Hoop Squad team up to stop Dr. Odium, a nanotech expert turned villain, from causing a destructive earthquake. In a final showdown at an abandoned oil field, Hoop Squad defeats Odium's nanitic robot, preventing the catastrophic plan. The adventure ends with the Hoop Squad playing a basketball game, and Virgil and Richie cheering them on as spectators. Meanwhile, Daisy experiences strange events at the Dakota Mall involving a boy named Eddie who can move super fast. As Static and Gear try to stop the super-speeding thief known as Speed Warp, they uncover Eddie's connection to the crimes. Eddie, infatuated with Daisy, steals a time manipulator to gain super speed but ends up causing chaos. Static and Gear step in to intervene. During a B2K concert, Speedwarp freezes everyone except Daisy and Hyper Time. Static, using a time belt created by Gear, confronts Speedwarp, resulting in a collision of Hyper Time that traps Eddie in a slowed-down state. With Daisy safe, Virgil and Daisy enjoy the rest of the concert. One day, Richie and Virgil visit their friend Adam Evans, also known as Rubberband Man. During Adam's date with Sharon, an attack on Alva Industries takes place and a Bang Baby named Tarmac steals a fusion engine. Rubberband Man, Static, and Gear join forces to stop Tarmac, who is being manipulated by villains Specs and Trapper. As the heroes confront Tarmac, Rubberband Man's dyslexia causes a lot of trouble, but he successfully reads the shutdown instructions for the unstable fusion engine, preventing a disaster. This one time, Virgil and Richie encounter a powerful Bang Baby named Chainlink while on their way to dinner. Despite their initial struggle, they prioritize their commitments and allow Chainlink to escape. At the dinner, they meet pro football player Dullah Jones, who later becomes the target of Chainlink's blackmail. Chainlink threatens to expose Dullah's Bang Baby status unless he hands over some of his fortune. Dullah reluctantly agrees, and Virgil and Richie, suspecting trouble, decide to follow him. Using a tracer attached to Dullah's Hummer, they discover Chainlink's plan to meet at a factory. In the ensuing confrontation, Dullah attempts to deal with Chainlink, but Static and Gear intervene. Despite initial setbacks, they join forces with football players, including Rashid Randall, to defeat Chainlink and protect Dullah's secret. In the end, Sharon expresses her pride in Dullah's actions, and Virgil and Richie play catch with Rashid, the Rocket Randall. One day, Gear's boots malfunction due to a computer worm, causing unexpected challenges for him and Static. Meanwhile, Dr. Roberts, seeking revenge against Alva, captures Static's father, Robert, to force Static into helping her steal back Project Omni. Despite his reluctance, Static complies, breaking into Alva Industries and retrieving the project. Dr. Roberts connects the components, gaining control over a global surveillance network, and attempts to launch a retaliatory attack against Alva's businesses. Static, Gear, and Robert work together to thwart her plans, resulting in Dr. Roberts entering a catatonic state. After the crisis, Robert, now aware of Virgil and Richie's superhero identities, expresses concern and asks them to reconsider their superhero activities. He suggests they disclose the truth to Sharon, raising uncertainty among the young heroes about the impact on their personal lives. And in the series finale, Static and Gear thwart a robbery by Kangor and Ferret, only to discover that a secret cure for Bang Babies is causing them to lose their powers. Dr. Todd's revelation of the widespread distribution of the cure prompts mixed emotions in Virgil, who believes Static's presence is still needed. As their powers diminish, Static and Gear confront Ebon, Hotstreak, and others seeking to recreate the Big Bang. A dramatic showdown ensues involving a fused entity called Ebonstreak. Despite seemingly defeating Ebonstreak with a massive explosion, Static and Gear ponder the uncertain fate of Bang Babies while expressing determination to continue their superhero endeavors. So that will be it from us. If you enjoyed the video, then leave us a like and subscribe to our channel for similar content. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at the next one.